Have you ever looked around your living room and thought, when did this space stop feeling like mine? I remember one morning I woke up, walked into the kitchen, and it felt like the clutter had grown overnight, like little piles of paper and laundry were slowly taking over. It wasn't just the mess I saw, it was the quiet fear behind it. Maybe I don't have the energy anymore. Maybe I can't keep up. Now, here's the twist. Most people think that once you're over 60, keeping a clean home means spending hours scrubbing, bending, and working until you're exhausted. But what I discovered is almost the opposite. It's not about working harder. It's about 7 gentle daily habits. Small things that don't drain your strength but instead give it back to you. Because the truth is, clutter isn't just about stuff on the floor or dishes in the sink. It whispers something deeper. You're losing control. You're falling behind. And for people like us over 60, that whisper can feel heavier than the mess itself. But I want you to know, I've been there. I know that sinking feeling. And I also know it doesn't have to stay that way. That's why I'm sharing with you today the 7 daily habits that truly changed how I keep my home clean. They're not fancy, they don't require new gadgets, and they don't ask you to change everything at once. Each one is practical, kind, and doable, even on days when your joints ache or your energy feels low. And here's the gem I want you to wait for. The last habit, number 7, is the one that surprised me most. It's not even about cleaning. It's about how you see the things you already own. And when I learned it, my home started to feel not just cleaner, but gentler, almost like it was taking care of me in return. Before we begin, I'd love to know, where are you watching from and how has your daily rhythm at home been lately? We read every single comment, and your story might be just what someone else needs today. So let's start together, gently. The first habit may seem small, but it can completely change the way your home feels the moment you open your eyes in the morning. Habit 1, the morning reset. Do you ever wake up, step into the kitchen, and already feel behind because yesterday's dishes, mail, or clutter are still staring at you? It's like the day hasn't even started, but the weight is already on your shoulders. That's why the morning reset is so powerful. It doesn't mean deep cleaning. It simply means taking 5 gentle minutes each morning to clear the space you'll spend the most time in. Maybe that's the kitchen counter, maybe your bedside table, maybe just making your bed. The goal isn't perfection, it's creating one corner that feels fresh and ready for you. I remember visiting Mrs. Kiyomi, a Japanese woman in her early 70s. She told me, "I never begin my day in yesterday's mess." She would open the window for a breath of fresh air, wipe the small table where she took tea, and fold the blanket she had used the night before. That was it, 5 minutes. She laughed and said, "When my home greets me kindly in the morning, I can greet the day kindly too." And it hit me. For so many of us over 60, the quiet fear isn't just about clutter. It's that one messy morning might spill into a messy week, then a messy month. Slowly we wonder, am I losing control? Will my family notice? But the morning reset is like whispering to yourself, I still have rhythm. I still have choice. When I tried this, I started with just my kitchen counter. Instead of letting last night's cup sit until noon, I washed it first thing. It was so small, but I noticed my coffee tasted better, and the day felt lighter. You can do this too. Choose one spot that matters to you and give it 5 quiet minutes tomorrow morning. One woman from my senior circle told me, making my bed each morning isn't for the bed, it's for me. It tells me I'm still in charge of my day. That's the emotional reset we don't talk about enough. So let me gently ask, what's one little area you could reset tomorrow morning? Share it in the comments. You never know whose day you might brighten with your idea. And now, let's move to a habit that feels just as small, but works all day long. It's called the one-touch rule, and it might completely change how you deal with clutter before it even begins. Habit 2, one-touch rule. Do you ever notice how an item can travel all over the house before it finally finds its place? A jacket draped over a chair, the mail dropped on the counter, glasses left on the nightstand, each waiting for later. But later rarely comes. The one-touch rule is simple. Whatever you touch, put it directly where it belongs. One touch only. Not, I'll set it here for now and then move it again tomorrow. Straight from your hand to its home. I once visited Mrs. Yoko, a quiet Japanese woman in her 70s, who lived in a small house with her husband. Her space looked effortlessly neat, but when I asked her secret, she laughed and said, "I don't clean more. I touch things fewer times." She showed me how, after opening the mail, she immediately sorted it. Bills in a folder, junk into the recycling. Done. No pile on the counter, no stack to go through later. She said, if I touch it once and finish, my mind stays light. That really struck me because I used to shuffle the same basket of laundry 3 times before folding it. Each time it stole a little of my energy, and by evening I was frustrated at myself. I realized the real weight wasn't the laundry, it was the unfinished task. And maybe that's the hidden fear many of us carry after 60, that we'll slowly drown in half-done chores, that our homes will show we're slipping, that family will quietly wonder if we're losing control. But this one gentle rule pushes back against that fear. It reminds us, you still have agency, you still can keep order, one touch at a time. I tried it myself, starting small, putting my reading glasses straight back into the drawer instead of leaving them on the table. The change was immediate. Fewer piles, less searching, more calm. You can do this too. Just pick one item in your daily routine and practice the one-touch habit. A woman I met in a senior group once told me, "Clutter used to follow me room to room. Now I stop it before it begins." That's the gift of this habit. So what's one item you can start touching once today? Your keys, your mail, your jacket. Share it in the comments. You might give someone else their first small step. And now let's talk about something that feels even harder for many of us. The quiet piles we create not by touching too often, but by keeping too much. That's where the next habit comes in. Habit 3. Keep less, live more. Let me ask you something. How many things in your home are you keeping just in case? An old blender that doesn't work well, clothes that haven't fit in years, or stacks of paper you haven't touched in decades? We tell ourselves they might be useful one day, but in truth, they weigh on us every single day. I remember visiting Mrs. Tanaka, a widow in her late 70s. Her home was small, yet it always felt open and light. When I asked her how she managed, she smiled and said, "I keep less so I can live more." She had only the dishes she used daily, a small wardrobe she loved, and a living room with nothing extra. No guilt boxes, no someday piles. She told me, if I can't use it today, I don't need it tomorrow. That struck me deeply, because for so many seniors, the silent fear isn't really about clutter. It's about losing energy to things that no longer serve us. We hold on to them out of obligation or fear of waste, but each unused item is like a quiet reminder of what we can't manage anymore. It whispers, "You're behind, you're weaker now." But what if we shifted that? What if keeping less could actually give us back strength, clarity, and dignity? Personally, I used to hold on to 3 sets of plates, even though I only used one. They sat heavy in my cabinets, making me sigh every time I opened the door. The day I let them go, I felt lighter, not just in my kitchen, but in my mind. You can do this too. Start with one drawer. Ask yourself, does this make my day easier, lighter, or kinder? If the answer is no, then it's safe to thank it and let it go. I'll never forget what one grandmother in my community group said, "When my closet is half empty, I feel twice as free." It wasn't about deprivation, it was about freedom. Less to manage, less to clean, less to trip over. More space for peace, for movement, for life. So I want to gently invite you, what's one item in your home that you've been keeping just in case? Could you let it go this week and see how your heart feels afterward? Share it in the comments. Your small act might inspire someone else who's been carrying the same hidden burden. And now, let's move to something softer but equally powerful. A simple 5-minute ritual at night that turns off not only the lights in your home, but also the noise in your mind. It's called the 5-minute night reset, and it may change the way you rest. Habit 4, the 5-minute night sweep. Have you ever gone to bed only to wake up feeling more tired? Not because you didn't sleep enough, but because the first thing you saw was yesterday's mess waiting for you. The cup on the table, the chair with a sweater hanging, crumbs on the counter. That's the quiet weight many of us carry without noticing. I once visited Mrs. Yuko, a 72-year-old widow, and I noticed something unusual. Before bed, she didn't just turn off the lights. She did what she called her night sweep. It wasn't deep cleaning, just 5 minutes. She put away the teacup, folded the blanket on her chair, and wiped the counter where she had prepared her evening tea. Then she smiled and said, "Now my day feels finished." Her words stayed with me because they touched a silent fear many seniors have. the fear of losing control. When the home feels chaotic, it can make us feel like our life is slipping too. But her 5-minute sweep was proof that control doesn't come from doing everything. It comes from doing a little, with intention, every day. For me, this was eye-opening. I used to leave everything as it was, promising myself, I'll deal with it tomorrow. But every tomorrow started heavy. When I began copying her ritual, choosing 3 small things to put back each night, something shifted. My mornings were lighter, and I didn't wake up already behind. You can do this too. It doesn't need energy you don't have, just 5 minutes, like closing the day with a gentle bow. One woman in my senior circle once said, "When I sweep my home at night, I also sweep my heart." And that's the real gift. Not spotless floors, but a sense of peace. So here's my gentle nudge. Tonight, before you head to bed, choose 3 things. Maybe fold the blanket, rinse 1 cup, and place your shoes neatly. Try it once and notice how your morning feels. And if you do, share it in the comments. Someone else might need your encouragement. Now, let's move to another habit that surprised me. It's not about cleaning more, but about using your spaces more wisely. A simple shift in how we define each room can quietly change the way our homes and our minds breathe. Habit 5. Every space has a role. Do you ever feel like your home is smaller than it really is because every surface is covered with things that don't belong there? A dining table that becomes a storage shelf, a chair that turns into a closet, a counter that's suddenly a desk. It's not the size of the home that shrinks us, but the way space gets blurred. I remember visiting Mrs. Ko, a 69-year-old grandmother who lived in a modest 2-bedroom home. Her house wasn't big, but it felt open and peaceful. The dining table had only placemats and a small vase of flowers. The armchair in her living room was just for reading. Next to it, a lamp and a single stack of books. Nothing else. When I asked her how she kept it so calm, she laughed softly and said, "Every corner in my home knows its job. That's why my mind can rest." That sentence struck me deeply. Because for many of us over 60, the fear isn't just about clutter, it's about losing order, losing the clear boundaries that once gave structure to our days. When the home becomes chaotic, it whispers that maybe we are becoming chaotic too. Her approach was simple. The table is for meals, the bed is for rest, the chair is for reading. Nothing extra, nothing out of place. I started trying it myself. Instead of piling unopened mail on my kitchen counter, I gave it a basket near the entryway. Instead of working on my dining table, I kept that space only for meals. And slowly, my home began to breathe again. One senior friend of mine once said, "When my space is confused, my heart feels confused too." And I think that's true. Spaces teach our bodies how to live. If the bed is filled with books, no wonder we can't sleep well. If the table is buried in papers, no wonder we lose the joy of a simple meal. Here's a gentle step you can try today. Choose 1 surface and give it back its role. Maybe your nightstand, maybe your dining table. Clear it, define it, and let it serve just 1 purpose again. You'll be surprised how much calmer you feel. You can do this too. And as I kept watching Ko's home, I realized she wasn't just neat for today. She was always gently preparing for tomorrow. That nightly ritual, done quietly before bed, held another layer of peace I can't wait to share with you in the next habit. Habit 6. Prepare tomorrow tonight. Have you ever noticed how the tone of your whole day is decided in the very first 10 minutes of the morning? If you wake up rushing, looking for clothes, searching for keys, clearing yesterday's clutter, the whole day feels heavy before it even begins. But if the morning feels calm, the day follows gently. I once spent an evening with Mrs. Sato, a 72-year-old widow who lived alone. After dinner, I expected her to simply rest. Instead, she quietly folded the blanket on the sofa, laid out her clothes for the next day, and even placed a glass of water by her bedside. Nothing dramatic, just soft preparations. She smiled and said, "Morning is the most fragile time. I clear the path for myself the night before." That struck me deeply. Because many of us over 60 secretly fear losing control of our mornings, forgetting what we planned, moving too slowly, or starting the day already behind. Preparing the night before isn't just about neatness, it's about protecting our independence, about telling ourselves, tomorrow you will be ready. I tried it myself, starting small, just setting out 1 shirt and placing my medicine on the nightstand. The next morning, I didn't feel rushed. I felt cared for, by myself. It was like giving a gift to my future self, and it made the morning lighter. A senior once told me, "I don't have the energy I used to, so I borrow it from last night." That's wisdom I carry with me now, and you can do this too. Tonight, before bed, take 5 minutes. Fold one thing, lay out your clothes, place a note or a glass of water for the morning. See how it changes the rhythm of your day, and as I saw in Mrs. Sato's home, there was something even deeper than preparation. A spirit of gratitude that made her house not just tidy, but alive with warmth. That final habit, the quiet art of thanking the things we live with, may be the most surprising of all. Habit 7. Gratitude for every item. Do you ever look around your home and feel like the things you own are just sitting there, silent, taking up space? What if I told you that every item around you, your cup, your chair, even the old blanket, could become a quiet companion instead of a burden? I'll never forget visiting Mrs. Tanaka, an 80-year-old woman living in a modest apartment. After finishing her tea, she washed the cup, dried it gently, and before putting it back, she placed both hands together and whispered, "Thank you for serving me today." I was stunned. She wasn't talking to me. She was talking to the cup. At first it seemed unusual, but then I realized it wasn't about the cup. It was about her heart. She once told me, "I've lived with very little, so I learned to honor what I have." That one line carried a wisdom that I couldn't shake off. Because deep down, many of us fear becoming invisible, forgotten, or feeling that the life around us has no meaning anymore. By showing gratitude even to small objects, she gave her days weight, dignity, and presence. I thought of myself, of the times I tossed things aside without care, the old sweater, the chipped plate, the glasses I no longer used. They became clutter, not just because they filled space, but because I never gave them meaning. When I tried Mrs. Tanaka's habit, saying thank you as I folded a shirt or put away my shoes, I noticed something strange. My house didn't just look tidier, it felt warmer. The objects became friends, not burdens. A neighbor once told me, "When I thank my home, I don't feel alone inside it." And that line, I think, captures the secret. Gratitude keeps us connected to our things, to our space, to ourselves. And you can do this too. Tonight, when you put your glass down, whisper a soft thank you. It may feel small, but it can change how your home feels. And as you've seen, these 7 habits are not about strength or money. They're about gentle choices that bring peace into everyday life. In fact, when we put them together, they reveal something deeper, a way of keeping not just a clean home, but also a calm heart. And that's what I want to leave you with as we wrap up. Your home doesn't need to impress. It just needs to let you breathe easier. I keep remembering the words of a gentle grandmother I once met. After showing me around her modest home, she smiled and said, "When my home is light, my heart feels lighter too." Those words stayed with me because they reminded me that tidiness is not about perfection. It's about peace. And if you've been following along, you've seen how small habits can reshape the way we live. The morning reset gives us a fresh start. The one-touch rule keeps little messes from growing. Keep less, live more teaches us that freedom often comes from letting go. The 5-minute night sweep clears yesterday's weight before we sleep. Defining space roles gives our homes order and calm. Prepare tomorrow. Tonight makes mornings softer and lighter. And finally, practicing gratitude for every item brings warmth to even the simplest things around us. Each one is just a small step, but together they create something much larger, a sense of control, of peace, and of living in a home that feels alive with care, a home with a soul. And I want to remind you, you're not behind. You're simply ready to take one step, to try one new habit, to make your space just a little lighter. And you can do this too. So tell me, which habit will you try first? Share it below. Your story might inspire someone else who needs to hear it today. Until next time, be kind to your space and even kinder to yourself.